Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. 女士们、先生们，晚上好。My name is Peter Reisman, your host for this evening. 中文名字叫瑞四文。I'm a managing director at Bank of China USA and also have the distinct privilege to serve as co-chair of the CGCC Government and Public Relations Committee. And I would like to welcome all of you here for this very, very special occasion. In Chinese culture, the tiger symbolizes bravery and strength, 勇敢和强力. And historically, the Chinese people often refer to a spirited dragon and a dynamic tiger, 生龙活虎. I have no doubt that many of you watched the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics, and it was incredible to see athletes from all over the world come together to compete, but also come together as friends. History has taught us that competition has been the driving force of modern economic and social development. In that spirit, combining friendship and competition, business people and public officials should embrace that spirit as we seek to solve the economic, social, and environmental challenges of today. We need to be strong, and we need to have courage to take bold steps in order to achieve a greater good. As an independent and non-partisan, non-governmental chamber of commerce, CGCC's mission is to create value, generate economic growth, and enhance cooperation. So let us begin tonight by hearing from our chairman, a gentleman, a businessman, and an intellectual who has led the transformation of CGCC during its most difficult period, strongly supporting its members and contributing significantly across virtually every industry and to local communities throughout the United States. Please join me in giving a very warm welcome to our chairman, Mr. Xu Chen, chairman of CGCC and president and CEO of Bank of China USA.
Thank you, Peter, for your kind introduction. Distinguished Governor Hao Ku, Mayor Adams, Mayor Fulop, Ambassador Huang, dear CGCC members, honored guests, friends, ladies, and gentlemen, good evening. 晚上好. It's wonderful to see so many of you in person today after a long time apart. As spring is just around the corner, we eagerly anticipate a year that is full of prosperity and hope. On behalf of the China General Chamber of Commerce USA and the CGCC Foundation, we're delighted to have you all here together to celebrate the Lunar New Year of the Tiger. More than 300 guests have traveled from places near and far for this momentous occasion. We also want to warmly welcome those that are joining online. We hope to see you all in person sometime in the near future. 2 years ago, no one would have imagined the level of disruption to business across the globe. During that time, CGCC still made important gains through resilience and optimism. Rather than hundreds, we are now reaching tens of thousands in the community through well-established virtual platforms and social media channels. In our annual business survey report, we delved into specific industries for their institutional resilience and imperatives. Through our Leaders Roundtable and Leaders Profile initiatives, we defend the various modules of the new normal in areas of regulations, cross-border trade and investment, green finance, and corporate communications. We strengthen the strategic partners with many world-renowned organizations and media outlets. We are sparing no effort in helping minimize the spread of COVID-19. We also challenge our past working modes, adapting to the new norms and evolving with forward-thinking ideas and agility. I believe this is what resilience, 坚韧, is meant for our organization. The evening is also about appreciation, 感恩. CGCC's achievements have been made possible by our devoted staff, a committed board, and most importantly, every one of you. I'm heartened by all those who read our materials, attend our events, and financially invest in our work. I'm humbled and grateful for your support to the community and your willingness to step up during these most challenging years. In particular, I would like to express my deep gratitude to several key sponsors and partners. EY, Las Vegas Sands, Bridgewater Associates, and W Philanthropies, Shan Harmony, China Construction America, China Telecom Americas, JP Morgan, Esser Green, China Mobile, State Grid, Citi, the Moynihan Group, Sun Fiber, the Star Foundation, Venado Realty Trust, Chubb, SCBC, Leaders, China Investment Corporation, Jamdale, China International Capital Corporation, China Unicom, Dorsey and Winnie, China Merchant Bank, Loop Capital, China Construction Bank, SCG America, Delta, Bank of China USA, and so many others. Your support and the partnerships you have created and enhanced through CGCC has truly impacted millions of people and communities both here and in China. As we enter this year of the Tiger, representing strength and courage, CGCC will continue to play a critical role promoting economic collaboration, which we believe will lead to a better investment environment, creating more jobs, contributing to supporting diversity and inclusion, as well as a more sustainable environment for our planet. In closing, I would like to call for candid conversation among our business and joint efforts in building a friendly and open-minded community. I would also like to extend my sincere congratulations to tonight's honorees. I wish you and your families, your colleagues, and your business a happy and healthy New Year. 新年快乐，虎跃龙腾。Thank you. Now it is my honor to present to you a devoted leader of the state, the 57th Governor of New York, Ms. Kathy Hochul. Since taking office, Governor Hochul has taken actions to make New York a national leader in countering the COVID crisis and advancing social and racial justice. As she continues to commit her life to public service, building trust, expanding friendships between the New York State and China, we look forward with great confidence to a brighter future between our people and the business for future generations. Now let's welcome Governor Hochul.
Good evening, friends. Happy New Year, Year of the Tiger. What an extraordinary opportunity for us to gather. You look fabulous not wearing masks, everybody. You look wonderful. A little more facial hair, perhaps, than we had. A little more, few changes, but what a sense of a comeback to see everybody gathered here in this beautiful setting once again, and to think back that literally 2 years ago this month, we were starting to hear what was happening over in Asia and other places around the world, but the pandemic had not taken hold of us the way it did in other parts of the world. We thought that we were going to be immune from it, but little did we know that our worlds would be turned upside down in a very, very short time. But as we talk about what we came through together, we also know that we have enormous resiliency To all of you who stayed and helped us fight back against this unknown virus that was just emerging in so many different ways and seizing our very lives, our jobs, our families, our midtown, our cities. What happened was something that is quite extraordinary. But yes, we went through a shared experience, but we'll be defined by not what we went through, but how we come through the other side. And that is why working closely with this incredible organization, CGCC, and Chairman Xu, and so many others who've lended your talents and your resource to build this city into the magnificent place that it is, I want you to know that your investments, that your faith, and your belief in a better future are well placed, because we are going to emerge from this pandemic stronger than ever before. And I have a message. Those of you who still think it's fun and cool to be zooming into your jobs, come on back. Come back to our city. We need you here. We want your vitality. We want your life, because otherwise you are missing the greatest comeback in American history going on right now before our eyes. And our beautiful relationship between our countries, China, the United States, China, and New York, amazing partners as we continue to work together collaboratively. And our people are joined together in a common mission of giving people a better life and opportunity right here. And the fact that there are more Chinese Americans living here in our city than anywhere else is an enormous source of pride for all of us. So I have spoken at many of your events over the years. I was lieutenant governor. Most people didn't know who I am, but that's okay, because I'm now here as your governor, and I'm so proud to be your governor, to oversee a great comeback, work with our mayor, Mayor Eric Adams, our former governor is here, David Patterson, and so many leaders who believe in this city and its potential when we work together with the Chinese business community, the American community, because we are truly one right here in New York City. Thank you, my friends, and Happy New Year to all.
Thank you, Governor Hoku, for the inspiring remarks and your dedicated services. Now, I'd like to introduce an old friend, Mr. Evan G. Grunberg, Chairman and CEO of CHUB. As an active member and a supporter of our community, Mr. Grunberg has been enthusiastically promoting the U.S.-China cooperation at all levels and committed to advocating for productive business collaboration between the two nations for decades. Now let's welcome Mr. Evan Grunberg.
Good evening. I don't know about the rest of you, but it's the first time I've put on a tux in a couple of years, and it still fits. Thank you, Chairman Zhu, and good evening, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. It's a distinct pleasure to be here again with you and celebrate this China General Chamber of Commerce Lunar New Year of the Tiger. In addition to the festivities, this evening is an opportunity to highlight the importance of the Chamber, which is to promote and advance Chinese business interests in America. In my judgment, two-way trade and investment between the U.S. and China are strategically important and in the interest of both our countries. Both nations benefit. As the CEO of CHUB and in my service with the U.S.-China Business Council and the National Committee on U.S.-China Relations, I have similarly advocated for increased U.S. private sector engagement in China. I welcome Chinese business in the United States, and I believe China should open more and welcome more American business to be present in your country. Our two nations have deep and long-standing interdependencies. The scale of trade and investment between us is significant, and this cannot be simply wished away, nor should it be. Two-way trade and investment creates dependencies, which in turn add ballast and act as a stabilizing force between our countries, though it also, at times, is a source of friction that needs to be managed. The 2021 trade figures were recently released, and two-way trade between the US and China exceeded $657 billion. China is our third largest trade partner after North American neighbors Mexico and Canada. At the same time, and as a backdrop, we've entered a period of increased rivalry and competition, which extends beyond security and ideology to economics. Regardless of the reasons, it is a fact, and it's not going away. In that regard, where necessary, my country will naturally defend its interests, as China will naturally defend theirs. This is particularly true in areas of certain advanced technologies and intellectual property, and in particular those that involve national security or represent certain leading-edge capabilities that can provide comparative advantage. We should both be very thoughtful and careful in how we define what to protect. Our countries have important differences, including the construct of our economies. One is more market-oriented, the one is more state-directed. One is traditionally more open than the other. So there's an asymmetry in our economic models. We need to recognize our differences and, most important, understand and manage them while acknowledging that each country is pursuing what it believes is its own path to greater prosperity for its people. I, for one, believe deeply in our American model as the right path for my country. We are at a difficult time in the relationship between our two countries. The level of distrust, particularly between our two governments, and the growing nationalism being fed by constituents in both our countries are at a recent high. It's important we seek ways to ease the current tensions. We need small, confidence-building measures that begin to get us back into the habit of cooperation and problem solving. We are not natural enemies, and we shouldn't use that word. It should be the priority for both our governments and our private sectors to advance productive economic relations benefiting both our countries. The notion of reciprocity in the broader sense is an important guiding principle. People-to-people relations and dialogue have suffered as a result of the pandemic, including its travel restrictions. We're learning about each other more secondhand than first, and that's never a good thing. It is incumbent upon all of us, in both the public and the private sector, to continue to reach for greater people-to-people interaction between us. We all have roles to play in communication and creating reciprocal understanding of each other's actions, intentions, and priorities. We especially need more relationship across senior levels of government. After all, relationships build trust and communication, which are so important, especially in conflict avoidance and friction reduction, and relationships that lead to frank, earnest dialogue, where we don't try to convince each other what we observe really doesn't exist. With that said, it is my pleasure to introduce Ambassador Qin Gang. Qin Gang has had a distinguished career in government and foreign affairs. He was appointed Ambassador Extraordinaire and Plenipotentiary of the People's Republic of China to the United States in 2021, after serving as Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs. In his role as ambassador, he plays a critical role in communicating the interests of his country to ours, as well as educating his leadership on the present dynamics in the United States. I have had the honor of spending time with the ambassador, I've found him to be frank, candid, and open to dialogue. And while we may not agree on everything, I have learned from him and gained better insight, and that helps to promote greater understanding. Ambassador Qin enjoys the confidence of China's senior-most leadership and represents his country well. He has been given a very difficult assignment, signifying the trust his government has in his capabilities. Ambassador, we recognize, unfortunately, not every door is welcoming here in the U.S., given the current state of the relationship. But I can assure you that you are among a group here that looks forward to engaging with you. We look forward to hearing the ambassador's thoughts this evening on the current state of U.S.-China relations, the most important bilateral relationship in the world. And thank you all very much.
Dear CGCC members, friends from the business community, good evening. As we enter the Chinese New Year, I wish all of you a happy and auspicious year of the Tiger. Let me first congratulate the award recipients. Congratulations to Mr. Ray Dalio. Mr. Dalio, you have been personally involved in China-US financial cooperation for decades. Your understanding about China and the China-US relations have given us great inspiration and confidence. Congratulations to Delaware Prosperity Partnership. Because of your hard work, many Chinese companies have been attracted to Delaware and made investment there. Congratulations to Surge Energy America. In less than 7 years, Surge has become the biggest privately held exploration and production operator in Houston. Your success gives Chinese companies great confidence in operating in the US market. These are truly extraordinary times with difficulties in bilateral relations and the challenges ranging from COVID-19 to tariffs. However, in 2021, China-US trade relations still registered rapid development. Our two-way trade grew by nearly 30%, reaching a record high of $756 billion. It shows again that China-US economic and trade relations are win-win in nature. Our two countries have highly complementary economic structures and deeply intertwined interests. We have a broad common interests and a great potential for cooperation, especially in trade. So win-win cooperation is our only right choice. Dear friends, thank you for all the hard efforts made to promote China-US economic and trade relations over the past year. You have been important champions of China-US relations, and you are contributors to the future chapters of our economic and trade cooperation. Here, I wish to share my hopes for you in the new year. First, I hope you will have confidence. Chinese economy enjoys great momentum. Foreign investors are still optimistic about the Chinese market. Data from UNCTAD shows that in 2021, foreign direct investment to China reached a historical high of $179 billion, up by 20% year on year. The Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, which China has joined, has come into effect. More than 90% of the trade in goods among the ratified members will eventually achieve zero tariffs. China also applied to join the Comprehensive and the Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership and the Digital Economic Partnership Agreement. The latest version of the negative list for foreign investment access has further opened China's manufacturing sector and expanded the pilot opening of the service industry. China will continue to deepen reform, expand high-level opening up, and strive to build a market-oriented, law-based, world-class business environment. Second, I hope you will stay committed. The business community should continue to serve as a bridge and a bond between our two countries, to cultivate an objective and rational view of both sides and tell the story of cooperation. Such success stories abound. COSCO Shipping has made important contributions to stabilizing trade and supply chains between China and the US. Tesla's Gigafactory in Shanghai accounted for more than half of its global deliveries in 2021, helping countries on their green transportation. These stories of win-win cooperation should be known to more people. We expect and welcome American entrepreneurs to visit China through the upgraded version of the Fast Track to gain an up-to-date understanding of China and expand cooperation. Third, I hope you will have perseverance. The United States is the largest consumer market, and China is the most populous country and the second largest consumer market. Visionary companies will continue to explore and tap deep into the two markets. According to the surveys last year, Chinese enterprises will continue to support the operation of their subsidiaries in the US, and 95% of the surveyed American companies are profitable in China. I hope that you will persevere in cultivating the two markets and fulfilling social responsibilities to becoming popular choices among employees and customers. At the same time, we also hope that the US will provide a level playing field for Chinese enterprises. 50 years ago, President Nixon paid a historical visit to China. Chinese and American leaders showed extraordinary political wisdom and courage and made a choice in line with the historical trend and the interests of the two peoples, which has opened a new chapter in China-US relations. Today, we must uphold the principles of mutual respect, peaceful coexistence, and a win-win cooperation. Follow the consensus reached by our presidents in their virtual summit last year, and strive to realize the healthy and the stable development of China-US relations in the next 50 years, to the benefits of the two peoples and the world. I wish the gala a great success. Thank you.
Certainly some inspiring words. Now, I'm honored to introduce Mr. Eric Adams, the 110th Mayor of the City of New York. CGCC and the CGCC Foundation are proud to support the mayor in leading the fight to bring back New York City's economy, reduce inequality, improve public safety, especially for Asian hate crimes, in the area of Asian hate crimes, and build a stronger and healthier city that delivers for all New Yorkers. Please welcome Mayor Adams.
Gung Hei Fa Choi. I was sitting at the table with my very good friend, Mark Holliday, and his lovely wife. And as I was contemplating where we are as a city, if not as a country, I could only reflect on September 11, 2001. I remember being a police lieutenant and watching the two buildings that we called the Trade Center collapse before our eyes. And every year we give honor to the countless number of lives that we lost. But the day I recall is September 12th. We got up. Builders built, retailers sold their goods, teachers taught. And the entire country looked towards New York City, which was the epicenter of terrorism. COVID is not terrorism, but it was terror. It traumatized us in a very deep way. Everyone in this room knows of someone that they lost. But once again, the eyes of America is on New York City. And the resiliency that is personified in our spirits every day of showing how do we get up. And part of rising is in this room. China General Chamber of Commerce went through a horrific period when the mere fact of COVID was shamefully attached to the Chinese people. And we saw innocent people walk the streets and were assaulted and attacked, and businesses were no longer receiving the support that they deserve. But we're so much better as a city. Our potent and secret weapon against COVID may be a vaccine, but our weapon against hate is our diversity. This is a city where anti-Semitism will never live. This is a city where anti-Asian and AAPI communities will never have to live through. I borrowed from the words rewrote from my religious background. On this rock I will build my city, and the gates of violence will never prevail. This is who we are as a city and who we are as the country. And to my Chinese brothers and sisters in this room, there's something great about this country. We are the only country on the globe where dream is attached to our name. There isn't a German dream. It's not a French dream. It's not a Polish dream, but darn it, there's an American dream. And right here in this city, we personify that dream. Continue investing, continue to grow, continue to understand that New York will come back stronger and better than ever. Spent 22 years of my life wearing a bulletproof vest protecting the children and families of this city. Doesn't matter what uniform attire I wear. You will have my commitment that New York is back, and anyone who is out of their mind to bet against New York, they're about to lose their money. Let's continue to grow New York City. Thank you.
Those were certainly some encouraging words filled with optimism and vision. Now it is my distinct honor to introduce a friend, an extraordinary diplomat, the Consul General of China to New York City, Ambassador Huang Ping. Please give a warm welcome to Ambassador Huang Ping.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you, Mr. Xu Chen. It is a great honor, pleasure for me to be here with you in person. and introduce our next award and the honoree. The Principal Award recognizes individuals who are dedicated to encouraging the value of responsible leadership, strategic innovation, and international cooperation. I'm honored to present this year's Principal Award to Ray Dalio. Mr. Dalio is such a business celebrity that I don't think I need to go into details about his achievements and contributions. What I'm going to talk about is his two salient characters, which I believe make him the best person to get this award. Firstly, Ray is conversant with things past and present. He's very good at looking at the world from a historical perspective through the lens of development. By doing so, he's always able to draw lessons from both successes and failures in order to better resolve problems in the present and in the future. Secondly, he has a whole world in his mind. He's not only a far-sighted business leader, but also a social activist with a global perspective. A charitable person who is concerned about the well-being of people. He actively takes social responsibility and contributes to public welfare. In particular, he likes sharing his experiences with others in order to help them achieve their goals. This is well exemplified in his book, The Principles, which offers a clear, straightforward approach to decision-making that everyone can apply. With these unique characters, Ray has had a foresight to see China's development from a historical perspective. For more than 35 years, Ray has been visiting and studying China's markets through management and consulting projects. His timely perspectives on China have made incredible contributions to the better understanding between the Chinese and American people. Moreover, he's deeply involved in China's social development through his expertise, philanthropy, and education. As Ambassador Qin Gang just said in his speech, Ray's understanding about China and China-US relations have given us great inspiration and confidence. And as Ray once said, there are things that make Americans American, and there are things that make Chinese Chinese. But we can approach a win-win relationship by seeing each other through each other's eyes and not expecting others to be like us in all respects. This is truly a sober view and one of the fundamental principles for growing China-US relationship. We need more people like Ray. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in honoring Ray with the Principal Award.
If we can ask for Chairman Xu, could you come to the stage for a quick photo? The ambassador will present the award, and I'm sure Ray's going to have a few words to say with us. Ray's going to share with us a few words before he sits down with Mr. David Schneier for a small dialogue. David Schneier is the president and executive editor of Leaders Magazine. I'm going to leave the stage to the both of you, but first a few words.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chairman Chu, Governor Hochul, Ambassador Huang, Mayor Adams, Ambassador Chin, Evan Greenberg, all of you. I'm so glad that we together share the love of China and the United States and great relations and celebrate it here today. I, like most of you, care a lot about China and the U.S. and the quality of the Chinese-American relations. We each have our own reasons for caring. In my case, it's because of my experiences in both China and the United States. You see, I was born in 1949 as an American when the United States was on top of the world, having just won World War II, and I lived the American dream of having equal opportunity and great freedom to be creative and make revolutionary improvements to prosper. That year that I was born, 1949, was also the year that the People's Republic of China was born. But I didn't know China until 1984, which was soon after Deng Xiaoping came to power and began his open door and reform policies. I was invited by CITIC to teach them about the world financial markets. Up until then, my image of China was of millions of Chinese waving little red books with Mao at the head of the leadership. I went to China because I was curious. That brought me in contact with the Chinese people and the Chinese culture, which prompted me to keep going and to become deeply involved for the last 38 years. I didn't go for the money because China was poor and undeveloped. For example, I would give $10 calculators to high-ranking officials who thought they were miracle devices. Today, China, in quantum computing and AI and other technologies, is cutting edge with the United States. I kept going because it thrilled me to work with Chinese friends to help. For example, I helped some Chinese friends who were collectively known as the Security Exchange Executive Council to build the first stock market in China. That organization operated out of a dingy hotel room because they didn't have hardly any money, but they had a dream to build a stock market in China, and they built out that dream, and I had the pleasure to be part of that. I brought my family to China many times, and they also fell in love with the Chinese people. So much so that I sent my 11-year-old son to go to an all-Chinese school, he was the only foreigner, in Beijing, and to live with a wonderful Chinese woman and her husband. He lived a very basic life, like most Chinese then. For example, in his apartment, he had hot water only 2 days a week, and he and other students had to wear coats in school until late November because the heat wasn't turned on until then because it was too expensive. But he felt the warmth of the teachers and the Chinese students. That led him to also want to help, which led him to set up a foundation to help Chinese special needs orphans. Of course, the whole experience was also thrilling because of how fast China was improving. Since I started to go to China, per capita income has increased by 26 times. The poverty rate fell from 88% to less than 1%, and the life expectancy increased by 10 years. And in a country that size, that's an incredible miracle, and it was a thrill to be involved with. Over most of these years, most everyone believed that the United States and China had a win-win relationship. You know what's happened since. It breaks my heart and it worries me to see the deterioration in relations between the United States and China and the lack of understandings that exist. I'm especially disappointed about how some in the media encourage conflicts and misunderstandings. For example, it's now difficult to say anything good about China without being portrayed as being anti-US. That's crazy. Of course, there are fundamental differences in how Americans and Chinese do things, and there are important things that they typically dislike about each other's approaches. And of course, each will follow the approaches that they believe will produce the best results in the global competitions that are underway. These will either be peaceful competitions that produce advances for mankind, or they will be destructive wars that will threaten the existence of mankind. Many of the people in this room tonight, like me, have close relationships with both countries. We are all faced with the choice of speaking up about the need for peaceful approaches and mutual understandings, or staying quiet and avoiding the criticisms that will inevitably come from speaking up to help mutual understandings. I hope that you will join me in speaking up to help mutual understandings and improve relationships between our two countries, because you are all here for that purpose and you all understand, and that can help us have a better future. So thank you very much for this very great honor to be able to receive, and I'm so grateful for the relationship and for all of you being here in support of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. And before I start the conversation with Ray, if you'll indulge me for a moment, I just wanted to make a comment because I think it might be seeing you today. It's been a number of years since I've seen you in person, and it made me think back to 2010 when I first had the opportunity to come to Bridgewater, get the Bridgewater experience, and to do an interview with you. And I remember heading back to New York City after that meeting and thinking, this is a different type of firm, and that you were a different type of leader. And as someone who has at that point spent 20 years, now 30 years, at the helm of a magazine called Leaders Magazine, and interviewing thousands of leaders in business and government, it always bothered me that the word leader was overused and had lost its meaning, and it was around financial success and the power of a title. And for me, it's about purpose and meaning and significance and impact. And seeing you tonight crystallize for me on that ride back, that was what we talked about then, and that's how you've lived your life. And the world could use more leaders like you, so I just want to thank you for all you've done and for all the impact you've had. That's just an aside. Going back to Ray, you mentioned, Ray, earlier your son Matt, who went to school in China at the age of 11. What you didn't mention is that experience that Matt had in China in many ways was the starting point for the enormous amount of philanthropic work you've done in your life. Can you describe that journey and the impact that had on you?
Yeah, certainly. Matt went to the school there, and then when he was 16, he was going to high school, and a friend somebody in our neighborhood was trying to adopt a Chinese child, and had some problems, and he said, maybe I could be of help. His big advantage was he was 16, he spoke the language, and they were sympathetic with him, so he was able to go into the orphanage system, and he saw that most of the orphanage children were special needs children, the unwanted. We always think of them as girls. And he learned that for $500, he can make surgeries and support things. And he came back, and he asked neighbors. He raised $70,000, and he asked neighbors, and he went back to China, and he got involved, and that ended up putting him in Oprah Winfrey's show, and it ended up being over the next 12 years, he set up operations, and he did a lot. And I didn't really have any involvement with philanthropy. So Matt, this then 16-year-old child, brought me through the orphanage systems and brought me in that regard. And I've just gotten to the point that I had enough money that this was an important thing. And so he taught me about the pleasure, the necessity, but actually the pleasure. Because when you look at the children or you look at the people who are benefiting and you look at them in the eyes and you think how lucky I've been or we've been, it becomes something that becomes compelling to do. And so he taught me. And so philanthropy really came from his involvement in China and also then the activities which we continued since then.
What made you study and write your new book, Principles for Dealing with the Changing World Order? And can you talk about really the messages you wanted to convey in the book?
Yeah, I learned a long time ago, I've been a global macro investor for about 50 years, that many of the things that surprised me in my lifetime were things that just didn't happen in my lifetime but happened many times before. And so there were three big things that are happening in our lifetimes that haven't happened in our lifetimes that I needed to study. And so those are the amount of creation of debt and the printing of money that has financial consequences through the system. The second is the amount of internal conflict between the left and the right as a result of very large wealth gaps. If you look at how large the wealth gaps are, you have to go back to the 1930s. If you look at the political gaps, you have to go back to 1900 to find we're at odds. We have a war going on internally with ourselves. And then the third was the rising of a great power to compete with the existing great power of the United States and the existing world order. The Soviet Union was never an economic comparison. And so in order to study those, I needed to see the cycles. What makes empires and dynasties rise and fall? So I went back in the Western world for 500 years. I studied them carefully. And then I also studied the dynasties in China since the Tang Dynasty, so about the year 600, and these patterns. And I saw the same patterns happen over and over again. And it's compelling. It's a situation that we should understand. And so I felt that I should take this study, which I was doing to make my decisions for the next year, 2, 3, 4 years. I needed to pass those along, and that's why I wrote the book. And I understand every one of you will be getting a book, thanks to CGCC.
When you look back to that study of history and the way you do look at history as you make decisions going forward, when did that develop?
When did I first do it?
Yeah.
Okay. I was clerking on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange in 1971. And so I just graduated from college. That was August 15th, 1971. The Nixon defaulted on the United States promise to give gold in exchange for dollars. And so back then, money, paper money, was just like checks in checkbooks, and real money was the gold. And he said to the rest of the world that you're not going to get the gold. And I went down on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange thinking that there's going to be pandemonium, a real crisis. And it turned out the stock market was up a lot. And then I studied history, and I found that the exact same thing happened on March 5th, 1933. Roosevelt did the exact same thing for the exact same reason. But I never experienced a devaluation before, and I didn't understand how the value of money changed that. So I knew that I needed to study important things that happened in the history, so I studied the Great Depression. And because I was able to study the Great Depression, I understood it, I was able to get the 2008 financial crisis. So the idea of this happening, so many things in history happening over and over again that we miss because we just didn't experience, it created a necessity for me to do that.
You've described yourself as being at a third phase in your life as you transition from running a business day to day and spending more time doing the things you enjoy most. What are you most looking forward to in this phase, and how has the transition been?
Yeah, I think there are these three phases. The first phase, you're dependent on others, you're learning. Then others become dependent on you and you're working and you're trying to be successful. And the transition phase to the third is to pass along the things that have been valuable to others to help them. So that's what this transition phase represents to me. In another year or two, I will go quiet, and I'll be done with this. But that, and then I'll be in that third phase. I'm very excited about the world, and I'm very curious, and I have a wonderful family, so there'll be much to enjoy. But there's something that comes to this phase in life in which you don't want to be more successful yourself as much as you want to see the success in others and make sure you pass along what you've got.
Just two or three more. When you look back, Ray, at Bridgewater, this is a firm that has had great success, great longevity, great impact. What do you attribute that to, and how critical were principles and culture that you built there to its success?
Well, culture is destiny. You know, it's the most important thing. What I would attribute it to, well, we have one goal in one long sentence. It's to have an idea meritocracy. That means may the best ideas win out through radical truthfulness and radical transparency. In other words, we'll talk about anything, things that people would find difficult, how good and bad people are performing, and all those things. Try to get at people's strengths and weaknesses to help them be successful, help us be successful. So, an idea meritocracy with radical truthfulness and radical transparency, with the idea of having meaningful relationships and meaningful work together. If you're on a mission together and you're radically truthful with each other and you can get better, then you're in better shape, and I would attribute it to that. I would also say that whatever success I've had in life has been due to more to my knowing how to deal with what I don't know than anything I know. I've learned a lot, but what I don't know is so great. And so that has come by learning from others, triangulating with others, and knowing how to diversify my positions.
There are many in this room. There are young people in this room. There are those who have kids who are starting out their careers. This has been an uncertain and difficult time. As you look at those young people today, what would you tell them about the future, about what to do in an unprecedented time as they begin their career and try to build a sustainable career?
Learn from your mistakes. I believe this to be true. Pain plus reflection equals progress. That if pain is giving you a message, and if you calm yourself down when the pain reflects, it'll tell you something about how the world works and how to interact with it to be more successful. So escape the notion that being perfect, being smart, knowing that you have it all in you is the sign of success. That's wrong. It's the opposite. You will go through your journey, you will make mistakes, and through that mistake learning and that open-mindedness, you will gain your strengths. And there's only one thing you could do, and that is to be strong, because it'll come at you.
And just lastly, Ray, you're known to be an optimistic person, half glass full. We hear today everywhere we turn about crises around this world and challenges ahead. Are you still optimistic about the future, and what do you see ahead?
I see that we all have the capacity, if we deal well with each other, internally, the rich and the poor, the left and the right, the Americans and the non-Americans. We have today more resources at our disposal than we have ever had, and more creativity through technologies and the ability to learn. And there's a basis for being prosperous and having a good society, better than ever before. It all depends on how we are with each other. And it's a cyclical thing. You know, we talk about the big cycle. None of us have been through a war. Anybody who has been through those types of conflicts knows how bad that is. So that if we have the capacity in human nature, I have an expression, if you worry, you don't have to worry. And if you don't worry, you need to worry. Because if you worry, you will take care of the things that you're worrying about, and if you don't, you won't. So we have that capacity. And so that's why also I'm so happy to be here today with all of these people and talk about American-Chinese relations, because that will be the most important international relations in making a good future.
Well, I want to thank you, Ray. I want to congratulate you on the award, and I want to thank CGCC for putting this night together and for all the impact that they make, and have a great rest of the night.
And thank you very much.
Well, that was certainly a fascinating discussion. Thank you, Ray, for your insights. And thank you, David, for asking the tough questions, and for also your services in serving on the CGCC Strategic Advisory Steering Committee. We would like to now turn our focus to those who promote concerted efforts and fruitful collaborations in sustaining a stronger business ecosystem between the U.S. and China. The Outstanding Economic Development Partner of the Year Award. This year's award winner goes to the Delaware Prosperity Partnership for their extraordinary efforts in opening Delaware's doors to Chinese companies and supporting U.S. companies' expansion efforts in the Chinese market. I'd like to welcome Mr. Kurt Foreman, President and CEO of the Delaware Prosperity Partnership, to the stage to accept this award. CGCC Vice Chair and General Manager of China Construction Bank, New York, Mr. Li Suosheng, will present the award. And I'd like to again ask Chairman Xu if you could join us for a quick photo.
Thank you, sir. Good to see you. I told Mr. Lee that I had a 2-hour presentation for you, so well, it's an honor to be with you. Chairman Xu, the CGCC leadership, members, staff. I used to be a chamber staffer in the early part of my life, so it's always exciting to see what staff can do to make things happen, and all of you that are guests today. While I was sorry that CGCC had to postpone this wonderful event a bit, I'm thrilled that we could be together this year in person for the Year of the Tiger. I bring you the best wishes of our governor, the Honorable John Carney, and the rest of our organization's leadership for a prosperous year ahead. As the Tiger embodies courage and bravery, so too we hope the new year will symbolize resilience and strength, even in times of struggle. It is my honor to be with you in person this evening at an event that I know many of us look forward to attending each year, a celebration of relationships, of partnerships, and of friendship, an event that offers all of us many of the fruits that come from hard work, good fortune, and mutual success. Thank you to Mr. Lee and Chairman Xu and the CGCC for the great honor of recognizing our state and its leadership as an Economic Development Partner of the Year. Delaware's a special place, a place that's blessed with geographic location, competitive costs, and a long-standing spirit of pro-business cooperation and partnership. We are honored to be an ongoing member and partner with CGCC and appreciate the work it does to make a true difference for its members and those we all serve. We value and cherish the connections we have made and will make for years to come into the future. We encourage CGCC members to reach out anytime and visit when you wish. The welcome mat is always out at the DPP and in Delaware. We offer our best wishes to Mr. Dalio and everyone else recognized this evening, And as I finish, I would like to offer a special shout out to Chairman Xu for his long and successful time here in the US and as chairman of CGCC. Thank you very much for the many things you have done to make a difference. We value your hard work and our relationship and wish you the very best in your next role. Thank you. And I'm honored to, our governor couldn't be with us, but he did send a message for you.
Good evening, everyone. This is Governor John Carney from the great state of Delaware. I'm pleased to join you virtually tonight. I'd like to take a moment to thank the China General Chamber of Commerce, USA, for recognizing the Delaware Prosperity Partnership as its outstanding economic development partner for 2022. As co-chair of the Delaware Prosperity Partnership Board of Directors, I'm proud of our statewide efforts to create sustainable growth in industries like fintech, advanced manufacturing, food production, healthcare, and science and technology. On behalf of the Delaware Prosperity Partnership and the entire state of Delaware, thank you very much for recognizing the impact DPP has made in developing the collaboration between our two countries. I'm particularly proud of the biggest project we welcomed to Delaware last year. The Wuxi STA facility in Middletown, Delaware, is an investment in good jobs that will drive economic growth across our state. And it will help Delaware keep growing as a leader in the biopharmaceutical sector. This development, with such a well-established and successful Chinese company, demonstrates that Delaware is a great place for companies around the world. We appreciate this recognition very much. Thank you. I look forward to future opportunities between Chinese businesses and the great state of Delaware. Finally, I'd like to wish you a very happy Lunar New Year.
Thank you, Kurt, and thank you for bringing those kind words and warm words from the governor. Now it's time to meet the winner of the Outstanding Achievement Award in Energy and Infrastructure. From business performance to corporate social responsibility, the Outstanding Achievement Award aims to highlight companies and organizations in various industries that are actively seeking solutions to critical issues facing businesses, communities, and spearheading the transformation to a cleaner future. As a leading production company focused on the acquisition and development of onshore oil and gas properties, Surge Energy America demonstrates flexibility and resilience in reacting to complex challenges and capitalizing on unique opportunities. Surge's achievements in operations, innovations, and sustainability have made a significant and positive impact on U.S.-China business cooperation. I'd like to welcome Mr. Guan Linhua, CEO of Surge Energy, to the stage to accept this award. Mr. Guan. Please also welcome CGCC Vice Chairman and President and CEO of ICBC's U.S. Management Committee, Ms. Zhang Jianyu, will present the award. And I'd like to invite Mr. Patrick Santillo, Senior Vice President of BCIU, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Commerce for China, to the stage for a quick photo. Congratulations.
First, I want to thank the CGCC for this recognition and all the support that we received from CGCC. I didn't prepare to say anything. And some of you might notice in the short 60-second video, Surge Energy was established in 2015 with just a few people. And the Surge Energy started operating the first oil field called Moss Creek in West Texas in 2016. And the company put sustainability in the top priority of the company's mission. In the past few years, the company already conserved over 80 million barrels of fresh water. And if you convert that into gallons, that's enough to give probably every people in this room and every people in the United States 10 gallons of fresh water. And in 2020 alone, the company electrified its operation by building a substation in the field that removed in the 2020 about 150,000 metric tons of CO2 emission from our field operation. And in the last year, second quarter, from 2016 until second quarter 2021, the company already created $1 billion plus wealth for U.S. economy in the form of royalty payment and also state and local tax payment. To my understanding, the first $1 billion usually is the most difficult and most time-consuming. And with the current oil price, I think the second $1 billion just around the corner. So thank you all. We are proud of what we do for the U.S. economy. Thank you, CGCC.
Thank you, Mr. Guan, and congratulations again. That concludes our award ceremony for this evening. Now we will begin our special appreciation presentation part of the program and start by inviting Mr. Stephen Fulop, the Mayor of Jersey City, New Jersey, to the stage for a few brief remarks. Mayor Fulop.
Good evening. I have the complicated task of introducing a short video behind me for CGCC, but before I do that, I just want to take a second and say thank you to the Ambassador, the CGCC Board, Governor Hochul and Mayor Adams, a fellow mayor, for all the support tonight. I know we've heard a lot about the relationship between China and the United States on the federal level. I may see it a little bit different at the local level. At the local level, we have partnerships that are really, really special. We have a growing Chinese American community in Jersey City, which is currently the largest city in New Jersey and the most diverse city in America. And more importantly, we're thankful for the hundreds of millions of dollars that the Chinese private entities have invested in Jersey City. Recently, we completed the largest building in the entire state of New Jersey with a partnership with China Construction, transforming the entire New Jersey skyline. From my standpoint, what's most important about that is that thousands of jobs in Jersey City were created thanks to these sort of partnerships. So while at times we talk about the international relationships, which are important, it's important that we don't lose sight of the importance of the local level partnerships that we're very, very thankful for. So again, on behalf of Jersey City, we wish you a Happy New Year. On behalf of New Jersey, we wish you a Happy New Year. And with that, I'll turn it over to the monitor for a brief video on CGCC. Thank you.
The asperity of winter shall blow over, and the warmth of spring will always follow. May this occasion be a time of festive rejuvenation. May the scent of spring flowers bring new life into our homes and daily lives. May new relationships flourish as we all pray for a swift end to this dreadful period. CGCC wishes you, your families and colleagues a promising and prosperous 2022, built on the vigor and vitality of the Tiger. 2021 was an unprecedented year full of challenges and compassion, volatilities and opportunities. The ongoing pandemic and the complexity of US-China relations continues to generate instability and unpredictability in the US-China business environment. This year, the Chamber strived to promote stable business relations and foster cooperation between the two largest economies in the area of corporate and sustainable development. Hosting over 50 events and programs with hundreds of experts and partners, CGCC continues to create value and opportunities to communicate and enhance understanding and relationships while driving innovation and growth. In 2005, the China General Chamber of Commerce, USA, was born to promote the healthy development of US-China trade, investment, and business cooperation. Year after year, CGCC has grown under the leadership of various committed chairmen and board members and has expanded its programs, services and resources. Ning Yuan of China Construction America arrived as chair in 2011 and hosted the first annual gala in CGCC history. The gala is a key fundraiser and has become a landmark gathering of leaders in this community and a platform of cultural exchange and integration.
Always consider CGCC as my baby. The chamber, it's more like a bridge between US and China.
In 2014, the CGCC Foundation was established to deepen mutual understanding and cooperation of the two great nations through research, public charity, and engagement. And a year later, on its 10th anniversary, the Chamber took on a continued journey at its new home in Midtown Manhattan, where it serves all of its members across the US.
It has been an honor to be part of CGCC's journey in becoming an active and impactful contributor to U.S.-China economic cooperation. I believe we have much to celebrate in the Chamber's growth and achievement over the years.
Since its establishment, CGCC and CGCC Foundation strongly believe in their responsibility to support, strengthen, and uplift local communities. Its various social impact investing efforts include critical support of PPE to first responders and frontline workers from the outset of the pandemic, participation in the New York Governor's annual holiday toy drive, and financial support to the tornado-impacted communities of Kentucky. Connecting people, building trust, expanding cooperation. These are the core pillars and fundamental responsibilities of the Chamber, which CGCC continues to invest capital and resources in as it enters its 17th year of development.
What CGCC has become today shows the true commitment of our members, partners, and sponsors who share our values of connecting people from all walks of life. It is that vision and dedication that I express our appreciation and welcome new members to our CGCC community.
If China and the United States can cooperate, we can build a new world order based on growth and cooperation.
But I'm confident that the downs will disappear and the ups will survive.
I also salute the CGCC for their achievements in bridging business communities and people on both sides of the Pacific Ocean for the last 15 years.
We find its various programs and services, plus its unique research, highly valuable in an increasingly complex world.
I'd like to thank the China General Chamber of Commerce for hosting the event and for the vital work they do to help promote greater prosperity and international understanding.
As well as it's great to be here with everyone else from the U.S. and China who are working to strengthen the partnerships between our two countries.
And the U.S.-China business community for your continued support. And we are thankful to be on this journey with you.
With our hearts full of warmth and gratitude, let us toast to the resilience and perseverance of all US and China business community members. While many challenges still confront us, we continue to serve with resolve and creativity towards strengthening business cooperation and market stability between the US and China.
I'd like to now welcome Chairman Yuan and Chairman Xu to the stage to receive flowers and a special gift for their long-standing dedication and commitment to the CGCC and the CGCC Foundation. If I could also ask Mr. Dalio, Mr. Foreman, Mr. Guan, our guests, Mr. Greenberg, Ambassador Huang, and Mayor Fulop, if you could all join us on stage for a brief photo. One more round of applause for Chairman Xu, Chairman Yuan. We'd also like to thank the members, but in particular also the board of directors of CGCC for their strong support and their commitment to the success of the organization. We began this evening by talking about the spirit of the Tiger and the remarkable achievements of the Chamber. Now we'd like to share more about the story behind the little tigers on each of your tables and to acknowledge the unrelenting efforts of the CGCC Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Mr. Tan Xu, Vice Chairman of CGCC, for some closing remarks.
Ladies and gentlemen, honored guests and my fellow CGCC members. It's my pleasure to give the closing remark for this tremendous evening. You know, in China, we have a long-time tradition. We always keep the best to the last. I want to congratulate again Mr. Dalio, the Delaware Prosperity Partnership, and the Surge Energy American for their contribution to the U.S.-China business community in the past years. This is proof that not only does U.S.-China economic collaboration remain financially vibrant, it continues to be socially uplifting. Indeed, cultural exchange, communication, and collaboration are the vaccines that prevent the scourge of suspicion, hostility, and conflicts. We are the antibodies fighting for a trusting and compensated world at a time when calls for isolation seemed epidemic. Thus, it's the mission of CGCC Foundation to deepen mutual understanding and cooperation between the U.S. and China through research, public charity, engagement in economic, cultural, and social exchange. At CGCC, you don't have to be a global corporation to join this endeavor. In fact, we have some very special contribute to U.S.-China cultural exchange here at our gala tonight. You must have noticed those little tigers on your table. I have one here. They were handmade by people with special needs in China. Some of them actually flew New York to join us. Our bodies may all differently abled, but our minds are united by the same yearning for connections. I invite you to meet these amazing craftsmen and women in this lovely video. They are truly an inspiration for all of us, a testament to people-to-people connection that is the foundation of the everlasting friendship between our nations. I'm proud that the CGCC Foundation continues to play a pivotal role in bringing us together and closer. As the world leap forward into a year of Tiger, on behalf of all of us at CGCC, I wish you a fantastic 2022. A year filled with fortune, fondness, focus, and fortitude. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the evening.
What would a gala be without at least one outfit change for the evening? I promise, we're almost at the end. Well, that brings us to the end of tonight's program. But before we say goodnight, please don't forget to scan the QR code located on the menu card to subscribe to CGCC's newsletter and receive the lucky draw winner announcement. We have lovely gifts from Delta, Tiffany's, and signed jerseys from the world-renowned soccer player, Mr. David Beckham. Through your support, 2022 and the Year of the Tiger will be an even better year for CGCC and the CGCC Foundation as we expand our services and support to our members while building a stronger and brighter future together. Good night, everyone. 新年快乐!